So hi, well, the Good Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with,
Tyler Tate from Hollowfront.
and we're asking some questions today about their upcoming album, The Price of Dreaming. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
It's been very positive. I've been very excited. It's an album we sat on for about a year. We finished it last March.
Wow.
So it's nice that things are finally starting to progress and it's finally coming out. I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, it's almost here.
Yeah, so close. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, so The Price of Dreaming is kind of encapsulates what it feels like to be it doesn't have to be specific to music, but it's definitely for us, it's specific to our dream of, touring full time and being that, trying to be the next thing in metalcore, trying to grow. But that also comes with sacrifices in personal life. And I have two children. So, the price of dreaming for me is sacrificing time with my children to, be on the road as much as possible to get the band name out there. And and I'm sure for other members it means other things. For me personally, that's what it means. It's the sacrifices and the trials and tribulations of trying to find success in that thing that you call your dream. So whether it's you're a painter or a singer songwriter, just anything, it's what you have to sacrifice to make that dream come true. The album artwork, I came up with the idea for the Medusa. I honestly just think that for me it just felt like she paid the price. She paid a price, Medusa gets a bad rap, because she's supposed to be the villain, but she's really just a misunderstood creature she was cursed, and she ultimately met her own demise, by staring into her own reflection, and kind of she paid that ultimate price. And it might not be specific to about dreaming, but it's just, for me, that Medusa, the idea of Medusa, being a stone statue, because she turned herself into the stone statue, is just kind of what resonated with me to I guess suggest it for the album artwork.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And just because I'm curious, the story of Medusa is she slept with somebody's god boyfriend or something, and she was just so pretty that the girlfriend of the god kind of just turned her into the snake head lady.
Yeah, Gorgon is what the Gorgons is.
Sorry.
They turned into no, you're good. You're very right though. She got frisky with a god and pissed off a goddess, and kind of paid the price of being an object of that other god's desire. It wasn't something that she deserved to have her life ruined over, but gods can be petty, especially in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Sure.
God, I love Greek mythology. I love that reference. It's good.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this album?
Oh, so we released an album in 2020 called Loose Threads. That was an album we had also sat on for a whole year.
Jesus.
So by the time that album was coming out, we were already ready to write for whatever was coming next. And we did a few singles, and we signed with UNFD.
Yes.
And they were kind of let's just get you in the studio as quick as possible. So we spent about a month at home writing songs. It was probably a month, but it was weeks, broken up by week. So we do a week here and a week there, but a month all together to prepare. We had 13 or 14 songs, I think. Some were finished, some were not finished, and mainly the finished ones are what you hear on the album, the fully realized instrumentals. Then we took those to a studio in Pennsylvania called Atrium Audio, which is Carson Slovak and Grant McFarland. They did Polaris's last couple albums. They did a lot of August Burns Red, Era's new album, Light Moths the Flame.
That's cool.
So we went there and we kind of really delve into the the lyrics and the vocals like writing, because we didn't do really any writing beforehand with vocals and lyrics. We had one song, which was Treading Water, which was completely done as kind of like a proof of concept, I think, of what we were going for. And then we just kind of wrote all the lyrics and the vocal melodies and all that stuff while we were in Pennsylvania. So we spent a month there really doing vocals like every day almost. But I think like there was one week I didn't do vocals for drums and stuff. But while we were doing, me and Dakota were working with Grant and doing vocals, Lee and Brandon and like the other like instrumentalists were working with Carson and recording like the bass and the guitars.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of like split into two different like teams.
Mm-hmm.
But then like later at night, we would kind of, after the producers would go home, we would kind of reconvene as a group and kind of go over what we were, you know, anticipating for the next day, talk about vocal melodies and see if people agreed or disagreed, which there were definitely agreements and disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
And we, you know, but everything that is on the end product is something that we all 100% believed in, and it was something that we all felt it was very much more collaborative than other stuff, I feel like, than our other releases. It felt like, because but our other releases were done at home in our guitar player Lee's studio. He runs his own studio, and so we did everything ourselves, but we were kind of like fish out of water in Pennsylvania, so it was very cool to have that dynamic of like, we're picked up and dropped somewhere where we're not really comfortable. You know, we don't really know the surroundings, and it's not like, you know, oh, let's just go down the street to get food at this place. I don't know what's down the street, you know?
Exactly.
So like, yeah. So we just had to kind of acclimate to our surroundings, and that kind of like pushed us to be a little bit more team based, I think.
Mm-hmm. So obviously the vocals and the lyrics are written in person, but you guys had the instrumentals kind of written beforehand. Were those also written in person, or was that like over Zoom?
We did everything together.
Okay.
We'd get together like a week at a time at Lee's in his studio and kind of write the songs, you know. And there were a few like Comatose, I think Lee wrote by himself without us in the studio. It was something he did on his own. And there's a few songs that he had previously that just weren't used, you know, that we kind of took and made work for the album. So a few of them were already like done for like other projects that he had, or just songs that he'd written.
Mm-hmm.
I think we went in there with like 8 or 9 like ones that we wrote from scratch together, and then we had like 4 or 5 that were kind of like Lee did on his own. Dakota wrote his own song from scratch, like from top to bottom. And yeah, we were just collaborating together, but also working separately to try to make sure we had enough material so that when we got there, we could pick and choose, which we had 15 songs to pick from. So we narrowed it down to 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically how that went.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I want you to tell us your favorite lyric and the meaning behind it off this album.
Oh shit! All right, hold on. Let me pull up the lyrics here.
No shame in that.
That's all good.
I do have one that has pretty much stood out to me from the beginning. Let me see. And it's more of like a stanza than it is just it's like a few different lines. But it's in our song In the Spotlights, the first song on the album, and the first time I make any noise on the album at all. So I say, I swear these walls are so damn high. Is this yet another moment I let pass me by? Is it my fear holding me back, or is it the conviction to follow through I've always lacked? Which is kind of like me in a nutshell, you know. It's like I've had things that happen to me through life that I've built walls emotionally around myself to protect myself, but I've also, am I going to let it hold me back, you know? Because, you know, doing things like being in a band that travels and tours and, you know, plays across the world, you have to have some kind of courage, you know. You can't allow your past issues, like my conviction to follow through. Like sometimes like I want to do something, but I won't follow through with it because I've always lacked that next step or that courage, you know. And I think with music, I've I've been able to break that mold, to where I'm not, I'm more, I'm trying to think of the word here. I'm just more persistent with it, whereas like other aspects of my life, like my love life and, my personal life, it's just, I've allowed my walls to kind of hold me back in those areas, but I'm not allowing it to do that with this,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Love that. No, go ahead.
So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you write the opener be the opener, closer be a closer? Did you shuffle around, see what fits? What was that process like?
I honestly, we wrote all the songs and kind of just placed them around and see where they would sound good. Other songs, like originally the beginning track was going to be the outro track, but it just ended up being the beginning track, and we didn't write it to be an outro track, or write it to be like a interlude or anything like that. It was a song that felt a little shorter, so I was like, oh, it could go at the end, it could go in the middle, but then it was like somebody's like, well, what if we just start the album with that? And it's like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So it's just kind of a very collaborative effort, to what like every band member had to say, and we kind of all agreed. And like the same with like names. Like we came up with all the names like while we were in the studio. So when we left, everything was named, and it was just kind of something we sat down one day and we're like, all right, what should this name? Let's come up with the names of these songs, and in the order, because we had the order and the names all done before we left. So it was just something we sat down and just worked together with.
That's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd like to bring up the opener again, because you mentioned that the first lyric in the first track is your favorite lyric. So did that have any factor in why you made it the opener?
So it's actually the first time I say anything, but Dakota actually is our singer, and he opens that song. So so he's the first thing you hear on the album, besides like the little bit of instrumental. But when I come in, it's just, I don't know, I just felt like that line to me was just, it was very like, not to speak myself up, but I thought it was well written, and it was just, it also really spoke to the feelings that I have. So it was just very honest, and I think my best lyrics are the ones that are the most honest. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like the reason. I mean, I could probably pick a favorite line from every song.
Yeah, that's good.
But to me, that one is just like, damn, like that. It's almost like throwing shade at myself a little bit, because it's like you've had the lack of conviction to follow through on the things that you wanted to do in life, but because doing this is scary, like doing like being in the public eye, or traveling the world and leaving your family behind. It's terrifying. So it's like you got to really break through that fear of, because I don't want my kids to resent me, for being gone, or I want them to kind of hopefully be inspired by my actions, because I'm very, very involved with my kids. So it's not like when I leave for tour, I'm just like, all right, see you later, I'll talk to you in a month. It's like I talk to them every day. But it's good. Like I want them to know that like dreams cost, like and it might not cost forever, but it's a cost that I'm paying now, and but it's something I've dreamed of since I was my oldest son's age, since I was like 10. He's 11, so 21 years ago I've been dreaming about this, like of touring and making music that people like, and just enjoying my life and not being strapped down to a job that I hate, or a relationship that I don't feel comfortable in, or I think it took me till I was my almost 30 to be like, all right, now is the time to just do this, and not let your fear of failing or letting other people down hold you back.
For sure.
And when you guys blow up, you can just take them with you. They can go see you perform and everything. That'd be so sick.
It's actually it's funny that you mentioned that, because on the tour that we just finished we had a hometown show in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And they did come out. They got to come out and see me perform. It was the first time they've A, been to a concert, and B, seen me perform. So it was a very emotional concert for me, you know, like crying on stage and all that. And it was very cool for them to see me in my element, even though they still think I'm like, oh, my dad, he's not super cool, you know, like he's so out of touch, or, you know, whatever. But it was cool. And my oldest son went to school and be like, yeah, my dad's famous. And it's like, no, I'm not, but it's cool that he just goes to school and says that, you know.
Yeah, that's adorable. I love that. Oh my God. So would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this album?
Oh man, it was a tough time because of the pandemic and the pressure from, you know, we released our last album, Loose Threads, and that we did that DIY. And then the attention that it got brought, like, I don't know, like a bunch of offers from labels. They wanted to buy the album and re-release it and sign us and, you know, to deal. And we ended up ultimately going with UNFD. It just felt like the best pick for us, like personally and, you know, business wise. And so they bought Loose Threads and re-released it. And so the pressure to outperform that album, you know, with sales, with just the creativity, with just the overall package of the album, it's pretty high, you know, especially, you know, going from like, oh, we're just doing this, because when we were doing it more for I guess we're still doing it for ourselves. I'm trying not to mess up my words here, but we didn't have the expectation of like, oh, there's a label that's, you know, like, you know, looming over us, like, you know, and having these expectations. So it was definitely like, it was a stressful time because the pandemic was we were pretty much in the middle. So the world was still kind of, you know, things were open, but barely.
Yeah.
And, you know, like life had changed a lot because we had tours that got canceled because of COVID, and European tours that got canceled. And so we were really living in that moment of like, are we going to release another album and not be able to tour on it, kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Because it's like Loose Threads, we barely got to tour on it. Like we hadn't even toured before we were releasing stuff from this album. So it was very like, you know, morale was super high because we were super passionate and ready to like prove ourselves, but it was still like that back of your mind, like, oh man, like we can't afford to screw this up, because we don't want the sophomore slump, I guess, you know, what that people seem to, you know, that people have seen in the past. And I think that really, but it drove us to like really push ourselves and do what I personally, I know I'm biased, I'm in the band, but I believe it's a step up. You know, I believe that the songs are stronger and the overall like feel of the band is stronger. And yeah, I think though it was stressful, it was something that was needed for us at the time. It kind of brought us together.
I think you're right though. Like, I don't think there's going to be people online being like, oh, Hollow Front did the sophomore slump, you know, this album sucked. So I think you'll be all right on that front. The album's great.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should they do it in the car with friends, in the dark with headphones on? Is it a workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
Man, I recommend all of those things.
Just listen to the damn thing.
Yeah.
I think, you know, for me, when I listen to it two ways. I probably listen to it way more than a human possibly should listen to their own music. But I listen to it in the car on a drive because it gets me jamming. But I'll also just like zone out in headphones and just close my eyes and just kind of, you know, that the very first song I think really sets the tone and the beauty of the album. Like the message of our album isn't always like it's not a concept album or anything, but it's just, you know, The Price of Dreaming overall, the whole album is just like, it just shows how much we want it and how much we're not stopping anytime soon. So we're just going to continue to try to improve the sound, you know, and I know that we'll probably lose some people because it's not as heavy But it's just, that's the way that the music has gone. We've gone from writing breakdown centric songs to writing song centric songs, you know, like it's, they're songs, they're not, you know, and yes, there are breakdowns, and there's a heavy song, and there's a really, really light song, and it's just like, we have like a variety. We wanted to make sure every song sounded different, you know, that yes, you can tell it's hollow front because of the vocals and just the instruments have like a certain sound to them, but we made sure that we didn't have a song that sounded like Treading Water, or a song that another song that sounded like Comatose. You know, it was like we really went into that being like, we want every song to stand on its own, and I think we accomplished that for sure.
That's good.
100%. So this one should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words, no more, no less.
3 words?
Yes.
3 words.
Damn, this is 3 words. I would say this is probably terrible. I'm not as creative on the spot like this. I would say it's modern classic metalcore, I guess, you know, it's
modern classic. That's good.
Yeah, like I feel like it's we take a lot of our, you know, a lot of our favorite bands like Killswitch and, you know, like those kind of like early pioneers for metalcore, and it's like, but we put a modern twist on it and want to stand on our own. We're not carbon copies of those bands, you know, but I think bands like us, and like we get compared to Polaris a lot, but I feel like Polaris also has that, captures that like almost classic, like they have like a what I would have considered like a southern metal sound, like they have like Norma Jean back in the day and stuff like that, like where they have like very like twangy, almost like country sounding guitars that are just like, but the metalcore is like energetic, and it's very and I feel like we capture that in almost the same way, which is probably why we get compared a lot. But it's like we take those, you know, like Killswitch has like, they're very structured songs, you know, they're not just writing a song to throw a breakdown in it, you know, it's like they have big choruses and driving bridges, and, you know, they do have the occasional breakdown, you know, because they are a metalcore band, but it's there with intention, and it's not there just to be sick, check out this sick breakdown, you know, it's like it's there to fulfill the meaning of the song, or like to fulfill the path of the song is taking.
Yeah, definitely. So in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want your listeners to have while going through the album?
Oh, it's a roller coaster, man, for sure. You know, there's sadness, there's anger, there's loss, there's even there's positivity. There's a song called Changeling it's a song about changing to better yourself, and, you know, not letting your past define you, I guess, you know. So it's a roller coaster of emotion on the album. I just want people to try, you know, hopefully it relates to them in some facet, you know, like I don't expect them to feel the same emotion that I feel, because I'm not them and they're not me. I have my own emotions and my own thoughts and opinions, and I just would like them to enjoy it, hopefully.
That's good. I like that.
Sure. So what is your favorite memory that you made while creating this album?
My favorite memory. Oh, I think it was just, I feel like it was just the whole process. I know that's kind of a cop out. I can try to think of something more specific, but it's just like, that's something that, as I'm 31, so, and I was 30 then, and it's like something I'd been dreaming of doing, you know, traveling to a studio that, you know, was outside, you know, it was like 10, 12 hours away. So it's, you know, it's a trek.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, I had always dreamed I was going to be doing it in California or somewhere warm, but we chose Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But it was cool because, you know, it was still warm. It was a nice warm time we were there, and like it was a different vibe. It was like Amish people, and you know, it was a very very odd, but it was still, that's my favorite thing, is like just being able to fulfill that dream of, you know, going to a professional studio, and like doing the whole process, you know, and like I have other things, like there was this restaurant that we found. We went there like 5 or 6 times while we were there. Like we loved it. So like that's a memory that I'll cherish. Like I got a ribeye steak every time I went, and it was just me and my steak. And I definitely spent way too much money, but I enjoyed every bite of the steak, and it was just a cool restaurant.
That's good. Hopefully, for the next record, you can fulfill the dream 100% and record the next record in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not LA. I would like to go maybe a little more south.
Fair enough.
Or north.
Okay, just anywhere but LA.
Yeah, like an hour outside. Like I'll take an hour outside, you know, like or a couple, you know, like
as long as
I don't
you're
want
in California.
In LA.
Okay.
Yes, and somewhere where it's close to stuff I don't have to drive to, because gas is like $7 a gallon. So.
Yeah, went up again today. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So picture this: you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Oh shoot, snack of choice. And this is just like run-of-the-mill gas station?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll just go with what I had the most on the last tour, which was Welch's fruit snacks. I ate like
so good.
I ate way too many, and
no such thing.
There was this one store that we went to, and it didn't have any of the small packages, which is what I'd get a small package, but it had like a 3-pound package.
Oh yes.
And I was like, it was like $8.99, and I'm like, that's just the easiest $10 I ever spent. And then it was just like this hefty bag. It was just like
got a carrying handle and everything.
It had a carrying, yes. And I snacked on that, like it'd be chilling in my little bunk area, and I'd pick the bag out and eat some, and then put it back. And yeah, definitely for me that would define, if I had a snack that defined me on that dark path tour, it was definitely Welch's fruit snacks.
That's a good pick.
That's a very good pick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also the Simply orange juice. You know those Simply orange juices?
Yeah.
I probably had, and this shows my sloppiness, but I probably had like 4 or 5 like empty ones just chilling in my bunk. You know, they were so good.
You live it expensive on tour, man. Those Welch's fruit snacks and orange juice aren't cheap.
No.
Hey, you make tips every day, and you get a per diem, and they get a buyout. So I probably I made enough money every day to like eat and get snacks, and some days were better than others. Like I bought some AirPod Pros, and so we got to have a little bit of fun on tour. It was a crazy month for sure. We got into an accident and all that. God. I don't know. Yeah, so it was like something that we totaled our bus. We had to get a new van. So yeah, we definitely let ourselves have some creature comfort there on. It's like I'm gonna be sleeping on the floor of a van for the rest of the tour, so I better have some fruit snacks. And some
yeah.
Oh, I'm glad everyone's okay after the accident. So.
Yeah. I mean, it was our we had to send our merch guy home. He got really hurt. He just had surgery yesterday, actually. So he's on the mend. He's gonna be fine. But yeah, it was pretty sucky for us. Our second tour to like have that happen. But I think it actually made the band stronger, and fueled my fruit snack obsession.
Yeah,
for sure. So on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be?
Oh crap! These questions, you're getting me. Like, I'm gonna say something, and someone's gonna be like, "You're nothing like that."
Oh my god!
I feel like we're not a single dish. We're maybe like a sampler platter.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Of what?
Like I don't know, like some mott sticks, some potato skins. I don't know, like just like all the good things all on one plate. It's like we have singing in it. Dakota has a beautiful voice, and we have the screams, and we have the soft parts, and we have the heavy parts, and we have. It's just the band is very variety based. So I think like having like naming ourselves like a sampler platter, like would you know, and there's probably something bougie on there, you know, like some spinach artichoke dip or something, you know, just something that's you know, it's the amuse bouche of metalcore.
Oh yeah,
I love that. Perfect.
So for the last couple of questions, we're going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Oh, and this, can I have like all the courses, like dessert and everything?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Warden, for giving me my dessert. I think it would be like a steak dinner with like maybe like a surf and turf kind of a thing with some like grilled shrimp or some lobster, and then like some like potatoes on the side. And then if I was gonna have like a dessert, it'd be like a strawberry cheesecake. And for a drink of choice, because I'm gonna die, would be Coca-Cola.
Okay.
That would be my drink of choice, or maybe a shake, or maybe a smoothie from Tropical Smoothie Cafe, because I love those.
Mm-hmm. Those are banging. So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
Oh, straight up, probably Harry Potter.
What house are you?
I'm a Hufflepuff.
Same.
But then, yes, that would be probably if I had a choice. Because I immediately thought of like other things I liked, and it's like, well, I don't want to be in Game of Thrones.
No.
You know, I don't want to be in Lord of the Rings because it's like orcs, and you know, I was like Harry Potter. That's pretty safe, you know, like at least for. And how long did you say I would be there?
A week.
So like a week, you know, maybe there's like a disaster that happens, but me being in Hufflepuff, I'm probably safe.
Yeah, as long as you're not like a Gryffindor, then it's like front line, first to go.
Yeah, you're just kind of middle of the row. You're just kind of like you're there, and you're there. You're happy to be there, but you're not like trying to save the world or anything. You're just chilling, and you're chilling with your friends, and you're eating some delicious snacks at the table in the common room or in the great hall.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So for this, I've thought of asking the last question, and every single person we've spoken to has said that it is the most important question. What's your favorite color?
That's a terrible question.
God damn it! That was
Take
mean.
it back. Take it back.
That's so subjective. It's like asking me what's my favorite type of thing to drink. I guess I don't know. There's so many things I like, so many colors, but I only wear black. But that's not even a color. That's that's a shade. It's not even really it's a neutral. It's not even a color. But if I had to choose, probably like a nice blue, like a piercing blue, like not like a baby blue, not like a dark blue, something that was like nice and like a royal blue, or I don't know.
That's good.
I don't but if you look at my closet, it's literally just black.
Mine too.
No, there's no shame in that.
Mine too. That's all right. So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Yeah, just the Price of Dreaming comes out May 27th. It's what I consider to be the next step for us as a band, and I would, any pre-orders is going to help us in our first week sales, and just, I would implore you to at least go pick up something and a CD. If not, stream it when it comes out, and that would be a-okay with me. And you can check us out at, go to Google and type Hollowfront, and everything pops up immediately.
Hell yeah. That's great.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for now. This has been Tyler from Hollowfront, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.